Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling. My host, JP John Paz, with me today two very special guests, the directors, the writers, the stars of the short film Little Lucha and the Big Deal, Scarlet Moreno and Josh Stifler. Stifter, I'm sorry. Josh, welcome in. Scarlet, welcome in. How you guys doing?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Doing awesome.
Now, let's talk first. We'll go to Scarlet, then we'll get Josh. What is going on with you and what is going on with the Little Lucha and the Big Deal?
We are so excited. We wrote and co-directed Little Lucha and the Big Deal, which premiered at LA Film Festival last summer and also screened at FilmQuest. And we are done with the festival run and we have just made it public for streaming for everyone to enjoy. So we're really excited.
Nice. Josh, what do you think about what's going on with Little Lucha and the Big Deal?
I'm super excited. It's awesome to have the movie out there. We filmed it a few years ago, did the festival run, and it's a long process from coming up with the idea, putting it all together, writing the script, to figuring out how we're going to shoot it, all of that stuff, raising the funds to finally finishing it and now releasing it. It's been a great adventure.
Now, where did this kind of genesis start from, Scarlett? Like, where does this idea come from? How does this get put together? How do you really kind of put this thing together from the start?
So Josh and I were on a show called Rebel Without a Crew. It was a docu-series by Robert Rodriguez, and that's where we met. We both made our first feature film on that show, and we were followed around by a camera crew making our film for $7,000 in 2 weeks. It's crazy. So that's where the ride began in 2018, 2017, Josh?
2018 is when
Yeah.
I wrote it. Yeah.
Yeah, so we finished the show and we went to South by Southwest, and at South by Southwest, Josh and I were talking and we were like, our styles, we have a lot of the same influences. We have different styles, but a lot of the same influences, and we should do something together. And so Josh literally went home to his hotel and wrote the first iteration of the script.
I wish it was a hotel. It was Avery's
Oh.
one of the actors in my first movie, his like little bungalow that I was staying in.
Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah. But I wrote this, and I wrote the script with the intention of, I hadn't acted in anything before, and I thought it would be nice if I could try to learn acting with Scarlett, who had acted a lot. And I had sort of worked with her on some visual effects and stuff. We had two very different passions in filmmaking, with directing kind of being the common bond. And so I was like, well, if I write something that we can both kind of teach each other with, it could be a fun experience. And it took us years before we got back to it. And I had acted in other stuff. She had worked on other movies that she'd done a ton of visual effects, but we kept coming back to this story because wrestling is it's just been a part of my life the whole time. And I hope that the story kind of sells this concept that a lot of people can relate to: growing older, trying to figure out your place in the world, trying to figure out if you can continue on in the art and the craft that you've sort of been building. So it goes beyond just wrestling, hopefully. And it's a story that I wanted to tell. I just coincidentally got way, way, way back into wrestling as we worked on the process of making this.
Nice. I love that. Scarlett, how would you explain it? Like, I know it's like a 1980s love letter pro wrestling, but how would you kind of explain it to somebody that would be interested? Like, how would you sell it?
So I would say it's a story about two underdogs, two wannabe pro wrestlers in the early 80s. One of them is a woman and one of them is a very small man. So they're both not taken super seriously in the wrestling world, especially at the time. And they're both just like hungry and passionate about it. The Big Deal is like super talented, and she just keeps getting kind of like pushed aside. And so she and Little Lucha, commiserated a diner after one of the matches where she's just over it. She's done. And he's like, we got to give it one more shot. And I don't want to give away like everything about their relationship, but it goes much deeper than just what you see in the short film. I mean, we'd love to make it a feature or a show, but they're super connected. And they just feed off of each other. And I think it's a really beautiful story about friendship and about like two people kind of barely holding on to their careers, but pushing forward and past like those very difficult moments to just keep pressing on.
Josh, when you're putting this thing together, is your heart in it as far as like, hey, I really kind of might want to be a wrestler here? You know what I mean? Little Lucha might actually want to be a luchador.
I mean, let's be honest. Deep down, everyone who loves wrestling just wishes they could be involved in some way.
Yeah.
We watch it. To me, like one of the reasons I got back into it, I was into the Attitude Era. I was a kid during all of that, and I was obsessed with wrestling at that time. And I grew up watching, like I remember watching my grandpa's WrestleMania 3 tape over and over and over and over again. And but then I sort of got out of it, and but realized sort of later in life how punk rock it really is. Like it's one of the final things that it's almost impossible to just overproduce it. Like music has become overproduced. Films you can just do so much CGI, you can do so much, but wrestling deep down it's hard. Any form of legit wrestling, it's people in a ring tossing each other around and playing the game and figuring out telling stories, and just there's bold drama and that fear that someone's truly going to get hurt at any given moment, and that's like what I love about it. So but the opportunity I had to get in the ring with Ricky Noren was the wrestler at the beginning, and he tossed me around, taught me some things, but also really threw me around and like let me take some nice bumps and feel what it's like to be in the ring. So it was an awesome experience. And everyone that you see at the beginning of that short film being in there, or even at the end when Scarlett gets to toss me around, it really gives you a respect for what they do, even if it's in such a tiny little form of what actually happens.
Hey, that guy Rick has got quite a good elbow drop. I noticed that, by the way.
Yeah,
Right?
Ricky
is
elbow, awesome. Yeah, he's awesome. If you look up Ricky Noren's stuff, he is an incredible underground dude who has been. There's a article written about him doing underground wrestling in New York, and it's one of the craziest matches I've ever seen. And I've seen some wild stuff, so definitely worth checking him out.
Wow, now I'm definitely going to see that. Scarlett, you agree? You like Ricky's abilities out there?
He's a beast. He was also, it's funny because I watched some of his stuff too before we met him, or before I met him, and I was legitimately like kind of scared of him, like scared to meet him, because I'm not kidding, in his matches he's like covered in blood, and like, it's underground, it's like really, I mean, talk about punk rock. And then I met him, and he is the nicest, kindest human on, like, he was so nice on set. He was teaching me like how to get in and out of holds to like make things look convincing. I mean, obviously Josh did all of his own stunts. And so he was like really, really great with Josh. And yeah, I mean, he's a super talented wrestler, but he's also just a really kind human.
Scarlett, did you ever think about getting into wrestling as far as, Josh's love for it? Does that ever cross your mind?
Yes. The short answer is yes. So like a few, we all saw Glow, and I really, really loved it. I also grew up in, the 90s and early 2000s. I was a big fan of Macho Man and the Hulk and Ric Flair and, that whole era. Chyna, like these really, really huge major, I mean, and there's still huge characters in wrestling now, but I feel like even like then for some reason there was this theatrical element to it that was kind of super unique. And so, yeah, as a little kid, I was like playing, WWE with my brother, like jumping off the couch. But also now, and like in the last few years, I had wanted to do like a wrestling, a film or a show or anything in the wrestling genre, because I find it super exciting to be very physical in my acting, and also because like women in wrestling are such cool and interesting characters in real life and on TV, so it is something that I've thought about and just really admired as well.
Josh, I know there's a lot of smaller guys in AEW, so is that a thought process in your mind there? Maybe.
I do love some of the littler dudes in AEW. I mean, yeah, it's great. I mean, I love all things AEW. I know, there are the WWE guys, the AEW guys. It is what it is. I love wrestling in general. I can watch anything. I go to a lot of there's a circuit here called Deep South Underground. There's a Deep South Wrestling in Atlanta. That's really fantastic. Some really great wrestlers. But yeah, man, like the Darby Allins and the I love someone who can get tossed around and ragdoll.
Deep South ran by Nick Patrick, the former WCW head referee down there.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
nice. And obviously his dad, Jody, back in the day, ran the real Deep South Wrestling, the first incarnation of it. So, wow,
Yep.
that's interesting. You're going to those. Those are, obviously those are not as well known, but that's awesome that you're going to those too.
They're super fun. And one of the things I've really gotten into recently is I love the announcers. I dream of being at the mic and being able to announce. It's one of the reasons I got back into AEW, got back into wrestling, was literally sitting around with my children, and my buddy Dan and I would sit and text each other while we watched. And I really found a love for the announcers and what they do. And in Minneapolis, there's some really great underground wrestling as well, or smaller, minor league wrestling that Daniel's a producer of this film. He's in it for like a short little bit, and he's also produced my other feature films and starred in a couple of them. He and I actually attended some of those as I ran camera, and he was the MC or whatever you want to call them on at the show. So while I haven't been actually in the ring wrestling, it's been really fun for me to kind of bounce in my own way and see what I can do, in especially in stuff like, Deep South and Minneapolis local wrestling.
Scarlett, is this guy crazy or what? Look, he's too small to get in there. What's he doing? He wants to get his ass kicked. What's going on?
He is crazy, actually. I don't know. I've known him for a long time. He is insane. I want to say, like, every time you ask him if he wants to do it in real life, I'm like, Josh, you should, because he was so good. I can't say enough. Like, he did all of those stunts. Like, I threw him on the ground. Like, it was crazy. So he's able to, for sure.
Do you think, Scarlett, that like taking bumps, is that something like fun though, or is that not fun? You know what I mean? You're really getting hurt.
It depends on who you are, I guess. I feel like for Josh, it is fun.
It would be fun as long as I could get someone like if I'm gonna be like a Jungle Jack Perry type, I need to get my Luchasaurus in there to like defend me in the ring. I need some big guy with me all the time.
Yeah.
You know what? My dream is to be I would love to be in there as like a Stokely style hero, or a heel that everyone hates. I just want to be in there managing and pissing everyone off. That would just be, the joy of feeling everyone's rage coming down on you. And
after the big deal really kicks your ass, you know what I mean? You're really going to be needing that wheelchair. You're right, that Stokely is everyone around him.
Did you see Stokely took this bump a couple of weeks ago where they threw him onto a table, and he fell on the table. This is like a month or so ago now, but he hit the table, bounced off of it, I am the table style, and then the table like flipped over on top of him.
Yes.
And it was like you couldn't write it. It was so perfect.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think it's supposed to happen that way, but it actually ended up being better. Yeah.
So funny, dude. I was laughing so hard.
I don't know if you felt the same way, but a couple of weeks ago, or was it last week, whenever it was, the Young Bucks' dad, Mr. Jackson, he spit on Stokely. That's not right.
Yeah, that was on Saturday. Saturday,
yeah.
Jackson.
What's he doing? You can't do that.
No. The whole family element with the Young Bucks was so great. And yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, if I ran into Stokely, it'd be hard not to spit on him.
Yeah, that's true. He's hateable. He's very hateable. Yes.
So hateable.
The thing is, which is great, I love when there's personal issues. That's a real personal one. They beat up his brother and the dad, and they pushed the mom down. Like, that's great.
Yeah, so good.
But they feel like the personal issues, you need that in wrestling.
That's why I love the idea of these two characters, because to me, having this like bond of the Big Deal and Little Lucha was super fun to write, because they're not brother and sister, but they obviously have some relationship outside of that, but they're obviously not like romantically involved. It's fun to write. I really wrote this trying to make a short film that felt like a 14-minute match that has the ups and downs, starts with the big hits, and then it sort of slows down, and you get these moments of like, ooh, where is this going? Like, where is this turning around? And that's what I love about wrestling, is the in-ring storytelling on top of the great promos and everything else. I love wrestling, but like if you have a great like 15-20 minute match that you tell a full story in the ring, there's just nothing better than that. And that's really what I was trying to do with this short film, was kind of take what I love about a good match and put that into something like telling a story about two people sitting around a table.
Yeah,
So,
and I feel like the family element is so huge in wrestling in real life and for like since the beginning. And I think that and there is an element, the big deal got her name from her father, which is like the storyline for them. And so she's trying to make him proud and she can't really because nobody is taking her seriously. So there's like a lot of that really cool family element in there too.
I was going to say, the psychology of Josh right there. That was great. He's talking about the ups and downs and, taking the fans on a roller coaster ride like a match. You got to appreciate that, Josh.
yeah, I watch every match like that. I literally am taking notes and writing their act structure, and I get obsessed with the way that the actual show plays out. You have a 2-hour show, but you've got all of these ebbs and flows and the way that matches are put together, who's going, where you're dropping promos, who's like that to me is exciting. So for me to be able to sit down and honestly, at this point, wrestling is so much. I mean, it's my church. AEW is my Wednesday night, is like going to Sunday morning church for me. And so that naturally will leak into my storytelling style. And I've noticed it now with everything I've done since returning to wrestling. I started watching again about 4 years ago. So everything since then has become very much like it plays into this, into the kind of storytelling that I think wrestling has taught me. I think it's underappreciated, the amount of work that goes into the storytelling, building these characters, building what you're doing. And I mean, I'll admit, I'll fall for, kayfabe all the time. Sometimes I don't know what's real, what's not. I love that about it. And then there's also the element of like knowing when something is just good storytelling, seeing something play out and pay off. There's like no better feeling than that. When you get to a pay-per-view and you're like, that was like, oh my God, that would have been worth $1,000 had I paid for it, because it was just such a great build of storytelling.
Scarlett, are you happy we didn't do this on Wednesday night? Because he would be totally distracted if we did it.
I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here.
He would have asked for a reschedule for sure.
You don't watch AEW, do you, Scarlett?
No, I don't watch AEW. I mean, definitely not religiously. Like I said, I feel like I'm really into the lore of wrestling, and like I've watched a lot of documentaries around like WWE and like the Ric Flair documentary, which I thought was really great. I love like the characters of wrestling, like not like the characters they play, but like the people that are the wrestlers. Like it becomes, their character and their persona becomes so entwined because of kayfabe, right? Because we're like, what's real and what's not real, that they kind of become their characters. They become their persona. They're like you can't like untie them basically. And I find that so fascinating. I am super fascinated by wrestling too, because it is theater. I mean, it's a lot like theater, right? It's got storylines. It's got act 1, act 2, act 3. It's got like the bad guy and the good guy, and it's got the like universal pull of like good and evil, making it, not making it. I mean, the like every championship match, and whether or not or you think that who's gonna win or who was supposed to win or who wasn't, like it's just really inextricable. Like you can't pull it apart for what's real and what's not. And I think that's super, super cool and interesting.
I think that was a big part of what pulled me back in, was because, as I directed more and watching people get into character, having to direct actors, having to find this way of understanding a character apart from who you are. You can see a lot of people try to put themselves into characters or try to pull from past or whatever, realizing that these wrestlers have to essentially live. I mean, they have to put themselves into their character. Their character has to become part of who they are. There are these characters multiple times a week. It's a thin line. There's no other kind of performing art like it. And then beyond that, any match could be your final match. Like there are insane bumps that happen constantly. A lot of the times the things that cause the most damage are the ones where you're like, Moxley is missing his tooth now because of a terribly small missed bump. Like that was it. He put his face into the stairs, and like it was not meant to be a massive hit, and now the guy's missing a chunk of his tooth. Like to me, that's the joy of it. It's insanity that these people put themselves through these things, and that now that missing tooth is a part of his character, and as he goes about his life as a wolf.
Yeah, and the other thing I've always thought was really like theatrical about it is like these characters are apt to change anytime like your manager or whoever it is like needs you to change. So like you go from being a good guy to a heel because it's better for the ratings, and then you just have to commit to that, or you know what I mean, you end up committing to that and the character totally changes, or they play different characters. Like when I was little, for some reason I really gravitated toward the Crow and who was Sting, and like why, like you know what I mean, he just played these two characters and then he committed to the other one, and everyone just like loved it and went along with it. And I mean, you know, with the Hulk and the NWO, like there's all these kind of hills and valleys in these people's careers that I think are so cool, and actually a lot like being in rock and roll or in acting or whatever. And in rock and roll, like someone like a David Bowie who went through like Ziggy Stardust and like did all these different iterations of himself. Like wrestlers do that too, and I think that's so rock and roll and so interesting.
Yeah, the constant shift, like this, the moment, and it happens every single like night. Like it happens consistently with the characters trying to find out what they are, where they're falling in this in-between zone, and then they have to commit to something or not. Literally, like Swerve has been on this incredible rise at AEW over the past 3-4 years, and to watch him go through heel and baby face in this confusing manner, where like literally this last week he pulled a total heel move, and you're like, oh my god, are we getting heel Swerve back now? But obviously you don't know, and you continue to watch this. Like I love that element of pulling you in and making you wonder. I mean, Mick Foley for me was the epitome of that, because he was such a like wonderful baby face. You just could not love him, but he would constantly change his character, and you're like, who am I even getting now? I'm gonna love him no matter what he does, but he's gonna play one of 8 different guys at any given moment. And I was always obsessed with that concept of being able to, when you're someone like Mick Foley, who is just absolutely lovable, to be like, I'm going to try going with Dude Love now. I'm going to try this other thing. He's just bopping around between characters.
And that's the thing too. You have to have the right timing for it, because the crowd has to react to it. So yeah, you're changing characters, but the crowd is a whole nother part. It's like, oh wow, like Sting turning Crow Sting. He was the most popular guy. Somehow became even more popular by not talking for a year and coming out of the rafters. So it's like the weird timing. Even Foley, he would turn, but he turned on Austin. So obviously he's going to get booed, and everyone's like, "Wait, this Dude Love." Now I despise Dude Love. Now he's with Vince. Like it's all about the timing of it too, which is another aspect of like the writing of it. Like, oh, now we're going to change. Wait, is this going to work? Is it not? It's so fascinating to me.
And and the art of it, like it's an art form. Like when you boil it down, like it's that's why this is, to me, this film and these characters, like they feel relatable, because I'm an artist, I'm a filmmaker, and just I do other art forms, and wrestling is an art, and it's performance, and it's like commitment. And so I just could really relate to it.
Josh, what were you going to say? You were going to say you love Dude Love more than any other character?
No, that's
No.
not what it is. I do love to. I've been on this Mick Foley tangent recently, watching all these old matches, and it's so fun to watch that guy, because it was of a certain era where it's really hard to pull those sort of switches up now because of ratings. And that's what I was going to say, is one of the things that's really fascinating is how it has become it's become more accepted and more mainstream than I feel like. Not mainstream, that's not the right word, but more like people understand you can replay it, you can do whatever. So people kind of understand the kayfabe of it. So the business side of it, the who's setting up this match, what's happening, that almost becomes as fun to think about and to like dissect as the actual matches themselves. So you're going like, are they coming up with, who wrote that promo? How did that happen? Where is this coming from? Is this these two guys are coming up with this idea together? Then you watch a match come together now, because we're getting so many different styles all melding into this. Like, it used to just be a US style, like that was really what we were doing. And now there's like New Japan has brought in Japanese style, the Mexican lucha wrestling, and even just like Mexican, the bigger style wrestling is kind of working its way in. All of these different forms are sort of coming together. So you see matches where my only reference in the modern era is AEW. So that's all I can really do. But you see like a person who would never be in a lucha match all of a sudden completely changing style, or you see a guy start doing wrestle with New Japan guys, and you're seeing that big smack no sell moments with someone who's like always selling big, and it makes you just go like, oh my god, they're experimenting. I don't know, that stuff just gets me.
And I'm not happy with Swerve right now, because Omega better not be hurt. Kenny Omega better be. I'm not happy about that.
100K. Wednesday we'll find out. He was fined 100K for his move against Kenny Omega. That was a big drop through the table.
But again, though, if you really look at it, it's like, okay, he's injuring the guy, but somewhat safely injuring the guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's the art of it too. Like, kill the guy, but don't really, don't take him out of the game.
Actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's nothing better than texting Daniel like at 10:05, right as it's supposed to be over, and being like, he's dead. He's dead. He killed him. He's dead. There's no way. Or like, Omega's going to be coughing up blood all night tonight. Those sort of messages, they just make me like, oh, I just love it. Love it so much.
Go to sleep thinking about it.
Yeah, I do. I fall asleep. Those are the best nights, is I can fall asleep happy knowing that Kenny Omega is coughing up blood somewhere.
Oh my God.
In my head, I'm thinking, like, is he going to be out? Now I got to watch next week, make sure he shows up, or is he not going to? Like, you know what I mean? It's the intrigue.
Exactly that intrigue. Yeah, that's how they get me every time. I was and speaking of Swerve, I was just on AEW was in Atlanta 3 months ago, something like that, and I was on the show. I ran up stage and they were fighting in the concessions, and I got right up front where Swerve was sitting on a chair getting a boot to his face, and I was right there on camera, and it just felt good.
Wow. Now I'm gonna have to go back and watch that to see if I can see you on camera.
Spot Josh. Where's Josh? Like, where was?
Yeah. Like, where the hell is he?
At?
Like, there's Swerve. Okay, there's him getting his head kicked off. Okay, where's Josh?
There's Josh, just like.
Yeah. No, I'm like keeping people away. I'm like, yeah, everyone get back. Like I'm a security guy.
Perfect.
So as we wind it down, head towards the finish, Scarlett, gives us one last big push for Little Lucha and the Big Deal, and where everybody can find and see it.
Little Lucha and the Big Deal is on Geek Tyrant right now, premiered on Geek Tyrant. You can also find it on Vimeo. Again, it's a story about two underdogs just trying to make the dream come true through the blood, sweat, and tears of that. Josh and I really know what that feels like as two independent filmmakers. So if you're an artist or if you're a wrestling fan, I think you're going to dig it.
How about you, Josh? Give us one last big push for it.
Yeah, honestly, if you want to see me get my ass kicked, if you listen to this podcast and you're like, that guy's a douchebag, even go check it out, because you're going to watch me get my ass kicked by a girl. And if you want to, and if you liked me, then go watch it, because I'm kind of funny.
Perfect.
How about some socials? Where can everybody find and follow you guys?
You can find me at my Flush Studios is my company. I'm at Flush Studios on almost everything. I have a Patreon, patreon.com/Flush Studios. You can also find the short film there. And it's, if you also want to read the script, I have posted the script on there, so you can read the screenplay and see how it maybe differs, or what you think would be different, or like the changes that we made from the script. And then also there's some behind the scenes and stuff. So patreon.com/Flush Studios. But otherwise it's at Flush Studios on all the socials.
I am at Scarlettini. It's SCARLETINNI. And yeah, that's on Instagram and TikTok. And scarletmoreno.com is where you can find my other stuff.
All right. Scarlett, Josh, thank you so much for all the time tonight. Everybody needs to get out there and check out Little Lucha and the Big Deal. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate all the time.
Thank you, John.
Thanks for having